Exposed. After 5 heartwarming minutes, the lowly maid's hidden strength canceled the wedding. Emma could barely breathe as she dusted the ornate chandelier, each crystal drop reflecting the light of her unfulfilled dreams. Possessed by the scent of the roses wafting through the air, she imagined their petals landing on her tablecloth, adorned by her own culinary creations. But instead, she was just the maid, the invisible woman to this opulent Whitmore mansion, forever serving the elite and yearning for more. Her heart tightened when she caught sight of Jake, the groom-to-be, smirking dismissively at her in the hallway. High and mighty, he walked past with an air of superiority, an endless reminder that she was just a girl holding on to a tattered dream. "You'll never be one of us," his eyes seemed to say. Each snicker from the family echoed through her, making her chest feel tight. How could her aspirations of becoming a chef defy the boundaries of their harsh realities? Days before the grand wedding, she once again found herself cloaked in embarrassment while arranging silverware for the rehearsal dinner. Intrigued by the chatter of the elite guests, she overheard conversations peppered with snobbery, as if they were above everyone else. They laughed about their extravagant vacations while she could barely afford a cup of coffee. Exhausted yet hopeful, she stilled her heart. Then, the unexpected happened. Joe, her estranged brother, returned home after years away. His rugged appearance told stories of battles fought both abroad and within. The wounds of war clung to him, growing thicker than any bond of blood. Emma stood at the door, torn between a longing to embrace him and the anxiety of a life overshadowed by the Whitmores. Her dreams felt overshadowed by the burden of family. The tension peaked the night of the rehearsal dinner. Laughter filled the mansion like confetti in the air, but all Emma could feel was the weight of unrecognized worth. Her heart raced as she heard the toast's words that joined silken threads of entitlement. But then something inside her shifted. Taking a deep breath, she stood up, her mind racing, the voices of the crowd shrinking as her pulse quickened. "Excuse me," Emma's voice quavered before it gathered strength. "I'd like to say something." The room fell silent, eyes widening as she confronted the prejudices around her. "We all have stories. Stories that matter." With each word, she sensed a shift. The rising tide of honesty washed over her anxiety. "We all face challenges, and dismissing people like my brother and me is a choice you make every time you treat us like we are insignificant." Tension crackled in the air, and even Jake's facade cracked, revealing an unexpected glimpse of vulnerability. Emma's voice filled the mansion, reaching deep to touch hearts that had dulled after years of comfort. It wasn't just about her anymore. She spoke for everyone who felt voiceless. Emma watched as their expressions changed, murmurs dancing in disbelief. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. With her heart pounding like a drum, Emma walked away from the stunned crowd, leaving an electrifying wave of chaos in her wake. The wedding plans unraveled before everyone's eyes, leaving a haunting silence where laughter once echoed. Would she lose her job? Would her brother's pain overshadow her own desires? The world felt unsteady beneath her feet. Emma stood at the edge of a precipice, torn between two worlds and striving for validation from the Whitmores, from Joe, and from herself. A lingering question danced in the air. Had she sparked the change she desperately wanted, or had she merely disrupted their lavish lives? With the specter of uncertainty following her, Emma realized her struggle was just beginning. The cacophony of whispers filled the air long after Emma had stepped away from the dining table, her heart clamoring with uncertainty. She rushed through the kitchen, past the gleaming counters and piles of untouched dishes, a blur of emotions swirling within her. "Did you see that?" Margaret, the head chef, asked in disbelief, her hands frozen in midair, an ornate serving spoon dangling precariously. The other kitchen staff exchanged glances, equally stunned by Emma's bravery. Emma knew Margaret was right. She had crossed a line she never thought she would. But feeling Jake's scorn tight upon her shoulders had ignited something within her a fierce desire to claim her voice. Yet, biting her lip, she wondered if she had sabotaged everything. "Do you think they'll fire me?" Emma murmured to herself as she poured herself a glass of water, her hands trembling slightly. "Not if you keep that spark alive," a voice suddenly said. It was Joe, standing in the doorway, looking as ragged as she remembered. He leaned against the frame, a reassuring smile softening his weary expression. "What do you mean?" Emma asked, searching his face for some kind of hint. "Here, in this house, you shone through their shadows," he replied, stepping closer. "You disrupted the norm. That takes guts. You want to go back to just being a maid, not if you don't want to. But what do I do now?" Emma felt small again, the weight pressing down on her chest, as if the chandeliers were trying to crush her back into obscurity. "I can't just quit. This job is all I have. Or it could be the beginning of something more," he suggested, his voice low and steady. "You have a talent, Em. You should use it." As she contemplated his words, her imagination flickered. What if she and Joe worked together? What if they transformed her passion for cooking into an actual venture? While the idea thrilled her, the fear of rejection from the elite world around her loomed large. "Your cooking means something," Joe added, sensing her hesitation. "Maybe not to them, but it does to a lot of people. You spoke today because you have the fire to create. Don't let that die." Create? The word resonated, but it felt foreign against the backdrop of fine linens and crystal glasses that she associated with their lives. Before she could respond, the sound of heels echoed from the hallway. Flustered, Emma turned her head and saw Mrs. Whitmore stride in, her eyes sharp with irritation. "Emma, there you are," she snapped. "What have you done? The guests are in shock, the wedding is ruined, and I spoke the truth, Mrs. Whitmore," she interrupted, surprising even herself. Emma clutched her glass tighter, her courage surging again. "I'm tired of being treated like I don't belong. I matter." Mrs. Whitmore's mouth opened, a gasp escaping before she regained her composure. "You need to know your place," she hissed, the contempt thicker than ever. "How about you learn that life isn't just about silver spoons and towering cakes?" Emma shot back, feeling empowered by the support of her brother watching in the shadows. "There are people out there who need voices like mine." With that, Emma felt something shift within her, each word resounding, a defiance that felt so right. For the first time, she felt seen not just as a maid, but a woman ready to claim her space in the world. "Don't try to silence that passion," Joe whispered, pride shining in his eyes. But just as hope surged, the door swung open and a figure stepped in. Jake, his expression unreadable, eyes locking onto Emma. "What is going on here?" he demanded, the tension palpable. Emma's heart raced. Would he dismiss her, stamp out her flame? Or was this confrontation the pivotal moment that could change everything? As whispers filled the air once more, Emma faced Jake, the weight of the world at her back, questioning what this could all mean for her and the path ahead. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she held Jake's gaze. The silence felt like a heavy fog, filling the room with echoes of uncertainty. She braced herself, expecting the worst, but something about his expression hinted at the unexpected. "What do you mean you matter?" Jake's voice was low, a mix of confusion and intrigue. He stepped further into the kitchen, his posture demanding attention. "I mean, I'm done being invisible," Emma replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But with each passing second, she felt a surge of confidence. "I've spent too long serving. I have something to say, Jake." The kitchen staff held their breath, shielding their reactions behind a curtain of simmering pots and pans. Margaret's grip on her serving spoon tightened, and Joe took a step closer to Emma, silently supporting her. Jake's brow furrowed. "This isn't how things are done here, Emma. You've upset everyone." "Maybe upset is what's needed," she shot back, her voice steadier now. "I'm sick of being a shadow. You think this is just about the wedding? It's about more than that." Jake hesitated, his gaze flickering. "You really think you can just come in here, and I'm not just a maid?" "Jake," she interrupted, her determination gaining ground. "I'm someone who wants to share my love for food, for people. I want to do more than just serve you dinner." His eyes softened for a brief moment, the mask slipping. But just as quickly, he masked his vulnerability. "You'll ruin everything," he warned. "Maybe everything was already broken," Emma countered, taking a bold step forward. "These people may see you as royalty, but they are just echoes in my life. They don't define me. I want to show my worth through my cooking. I want to create something real. A tense silence enveloped them, each second stretching like a taut wire. She watched as Jake processed her words, disbelief shifting to contemplation. Around them, whispers began anew. Is she crazy? One of the kitchen staff muttered. Does she think she can really change anything? Another echoed. Maybe she can. Joe moved closer, excitement dancing in his eyes. You've got this, Em. They will always fear change, but that doesn't mean you should stop fighting for it. Finally, Jake sighed, shoulders dropping just slightly. You need to understand how this works. You can't simply walk away from your role. Inhaling deeply, Emma found her ground. I'm not trying to walk away, Jake. I'm trying to step up. I want to do more, and I need you to see that. His gaze hardened, decisions whirling in mind. You're risking everything, Emma. What if it all crumbles? What if it doesn't? She challenged. What if this is just the beginning? A fresh plate? A new recipe for my life? Jake stared at her, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. The kitchen faded, leaving just them, each feeling the weight of what lay unspoken. You really want to do this? He asked cautiously. I do, Emma affirmed, emotions flickering behind her eyes. But it starts here. It starts with you. Will you help or hinder? As she awaited his answer, the laughter and chatter from the dining room seemed a distant memory, overshadowed by the imminent choices hanging between them. Jake's response could shift everything for her, uplifting or crashing down the fragile tower of bravery she had built. As the seconds ticked by, Emma's heart raced. Would he recognize the fire within her, or turn his back on the light she was trying to shine? The next moment could redefine her fate, and she prayed it wouldn't lead her back to that endless sense of worthlessness. What if he said yes? What if this confrontation unleashed more than Emma had ever dared to hope? Jake stood frozen, his expression a mix of incredulity and something like admiration. Emma held her breath, trying to gauge his reaction. The kitchen staff leaned in, eyes wide, like the audience of a gripping play waiting for the leading man to deliver his climactic line. Jake began, a depth of uncertainty creeping into his voice. This isn't just about you. It's about everyone here. The smooth running of the kitchen, the expectations, the wedding. Is that all we are to you? Just cogs in a machine? Emma pressed, her determination burning brighter. I want to cook with passion, with heart. When I plate a dish, I wanted to tell a story, not just serve a purpose. The air in the kitchen vibrated with tension. Emma's heart raced. Would he get it? Could he see beyond the rigid walls around him? Jake's chin lifted slightly, as if he was finally considering her words. You've got a point, but it's not that simple. Change is scary. Scary? Or necessary? She stepped closer, sustaining his gaze. What we have now isn't working. I'm not asking for everything to change overnight. Just for a chance, my chance. A soft gasp rippled through the staff. It was a sentiment many felt, yet only Emma voiced, challenging the very foundation of their lives. Joe nodded vigorously, his excitement bubbling over. Emma's right. We need to breathe life into this place again. Let us make it shine. Jake looked between them, and for the first time, he appeared unsure. Emma could see the gears turning in his mind, his protective walls starting to crack. If this goes south, it could fall apart around us, he said, weighing the risks visibly on his shoulders. Then let us risk it together, Emma urged, her voice now a clear beacon in the chaos. Let us take that leap and build something amazing. Silence blanketed the kitchen. The crew exchanged glances, gauging the weight of this moment. Emma's pulse thrummed, each heartbeat echoing her hope for something beautiful. Maybe she wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for all of them, for their dreams lost amid the clatter of silverware and orders. Jake's expression shifted, uncertainty giving way to something deeper. All right, he said finally, his tone steadier. Let us see what you've got. A collective gasp filled the kitchen. Emma's heart soared. She could hardly believe it. This was the moment she had fought for. Meet me tomorrow morning, Jake continued, a spark igniting in his eyes. We'll start fresh. But know this, it won't be easy. I wouldn't want it any other way, Emma replied, a smile breaking free as her spirit lifted. As he turned to leave, she felt a wave of relief wash over her. The weight of insignificance that had once anchored her down slipped away like sand through her fingers. She could finally stand tall and show the world the chef she could be. But just as the tension restrained in the air began to dissolve, her heart began to sink again. A loud crash came from the dining room, followed closely by a commotion that shattered the relief like broken glass. What is going on out there? Jake rushed to the door, his instincts sharp. Emma's stomach twisted tight as she followed, fear creeping in. That moment of triumph was hanging by a thread. Could this new beginning slip from her grasp just as it had gotten so close? As more voices raised in alarm, a chilling realization took root in Emma's mind. Whatever storm was brewing outside could change everything they had just started to build, and it might pull them all under. She glanced at Jake, whose composure now seemed to falter. "Let us see what it is," he said, bracing himself against the doorframe. With a deep breath, Emma nodded, her heart pounding once again. They didn't just have to face a culinary challenge now. They had to confront whatever chaos awaited them on the other side of that door. What awaited them beyond was not just a test of their commitment, but a true evaluation of their strength. Would they rise together, or would this new flame be snuffed out before it even had a chance to blossom? Emma's throat tightened as she pushed past Jake, stepping into the dining room. The usually pristine space was chaotic, tables overturned, dishes shattered, and people milling around in confusion. A server stood frozen, shock written all over her face, while others scrambled to pick up the wreckage. "What the hell happened here?" Jake barked, his tone sharp, eyes scanning the room for the source of the chaos. Emma's heart raced as adrenaline surged through her veins. Just as she turned her gaze, she caught sight of Maria, the wedding planner, drenched in spilled wine, her expression a mix of disbelief and defeat. "I'm so sorry, Jake," she exclaimed, waving her hands as if that could magically fix things. The florist dropped the centerpiece while trying to set it up, and now the groom is furious. Jake quickly moved toward her, but Emma felt rooted in place. She was overwhelmed, seeing the chaos that threatened to erase the hope that had just sparked. She sidled closer to Maria, trying to help her up. "Let us get this cleaned up," Emma said, her voice steady despite the turmoil around them. "We can fix this. We have to." Maria nodded, a hint of desperation softening her features. "But how? There's too much to do, and with the wedding starting in less than an hour, no, we can do this together. Just like we're going to take the kitchen back tomorrow." The words flew out of Emma's mouth before she had time to think. They echoed with conviction. Maria's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" Maria said, hope flickering in her eyes. "We can't just let this ruin everything." "Exactly. Let us pull the team together. We can set up a new arrangement. We can make it better." Emma's heart raced as she spread the idea, a flicker of excitement staving off despair. She could feel Jake's eyes on her, could sense that he was figuring out how to navigate this unexpected storm. "What do you need, Maria?" Jake's voice had shifted, now strong and supportive. "For starters, we need to rethink the layout," Maria replied, her shoulders straightening. "And I need someone to keep the guests calm while we work. Can you take care of that?" "Yes," Emma declared, feeling empowered. She turned to the staff still in the kitchen, who were lingering uncertainly. "We've all got this. Let us work together and show them what we can do." The initial shock began to wear off. One by one, they picked up the pieces, literally and metaphorically. Together, they formed a whirlwind of activity, a ballet of focused movements, laughter surfacing amid the chaos. Jake worked alongside Emma, directing people with an enthusiasm she had never seen in him before. He was leaning into this challenge, and it felt incredible to see the leader he could be when pushed. As they rearranged tables and set new centerpieces, a sense of purpose filled the air. Emma could hardly believe how quickly the tension morphed into energy, a collaborative effort unfolding with each passing minute. "Okay, we have 30 minutes to spare," Jake called out, adrenaline pumping. "Let us finish strong." The crew responded with cheers, their spirits lifting. Emma felt her confidence swell, and just as she began to see a way out of the storm, another crash sounded. The kitchen door burst open, and stormy faces of the bride and groom rushed in. "What is going on?" the bride shouted, her wedding dress swirling like a tempest. "You promised us a perfect day." Fear snagged at Emma's stomach. All their hard work, all their efforts, was this truly going to be the end? "We're working on it." Jake stepped forward, his gaze steady. "Trust us." Emma held her breath. Would they see the passion and determination behind the chaos? Or would the wedding, like the shattered glass scattered on the floor, remained fragmented and broken. As the couple exchanged glances, the entire room seemed to hold its breath, awaiting a decision that could change everything. Little did they know, Emma was about to reveal something buried deep within a hidden strength that had the power to tip the balance. If only they would let her. Emma felt the air thicken with tension as the couple processed Jake's words. She caught the glitter of the bride's tears, glistening like droplets of shattered dreams. It hurt to see her distress. Emma took a step forward, willing her own voice to carry strength. Listen, she began, trying to grasp their attention. The room quieted, and all eyes turned to her. I know this isn't what you envisioned for your big day, but I promise you, we are working hard to make this as beautiful as it can be. The bride's expression shifted from anger to confusion. But how can you fix this mess? She gestured at the scattered remnants of what should have been a stunning reception. Sometimes a mess can lead to something unexpectedly beautiful, Emma said, her voice steadying. We're regrouping. You deserve the best day possible, and we're fighting for it together. A collective inhale filled the room. Jake stood beside her, nodding, his presence reinforcing her words. It felt as if a flicker of trust had started to spark behind the bride's worried gaze. What do you need from us? The groom finally asked, his voice steady, though shadows of disbelief lurked in his eyes. Can you keep the guests entertained? Jake replied quickly, knowing that maintaining a sense of normalcy was crucial. Perhaps greet them at the bar and share some stories? It's a wedding. Let us lean into the joy, even amidst the chaos. The couple exchanged a glance, searching for answers in one another. The trust Emma sought began to blossom. Okay, the bride whispered, her voice regaining its strength. We can do that. She reached for the groom's hand, and together, they turned toward the dining area to address the guests. Emma released a breath, watching as the couple moved through the throng of guests, their determination infectious. With renewed energy, she turned to the team, still buzzing with tension. Let us breathe life back into this place. We have what we need to create something special. In a matter of moments, the room transformed. The staff worked in sync as Emma spearheaded the effort. With each arrangement of flowers, every straightened tablecloth, a sense of renewal grew. The scattered items became art, the broken pieces a story of resilience. And in this whirl of activity, with her heart thumping with the rhythm of possibility, Emma felt alive. She laughed with her teammates, shared smiles, and offered encouragement. Jake's presence beside her became a steady anchor. She could feel their shared understanding deepen as they navigated the storm together. Just as everything seemed to be falling into place, a commotion stirred outside. Loud laughter and voices began to seep into the dining room. Emma froze, glancing at Jake, who had already started toward the sounds. The door swung open to reveal the guests, animated and smiling, unaware of the earlier crisis. What is happening? One guest asked, a track of concern laced under their curiosity. Without missing a beat, Jake stepped forward. We're turning this around. We've got some surprises for you. Emma's heart lifted, hope radiating through the room like a warm glow. She moved to join him, energy thrumming in every part of her being. They were winning. No, they had already won. But just as she began to lose herself in the belief that everything was going to be okay, she heard a loud crash from the back. The sound cut through the collective joy that had just ignited. Emma felt her pulse quicken, dread creeping in. What now? Panic swirled once more as they all turned toward the sound, uncertainty rippling through the group. Would what they had built in the chaos unravel again? Emma's chest tightened, sensing that this new challenge would demand everything she had left to offer, and she was determined not to let it slip away. Emma's heart raced as she rushed toward the source of the crash, dread coiling in her stomach. Adrenaline coursed through her, urging her forward, each step echoing the uncertainty in her mind. Jake, come on, she called out, not looking back to see if he joined her. She pushed through the crowd with unwavering determination, her resolve anchored by the realization that this was far from over. When she reached the back of the venue, her breath caught in her throat. A towering stack of plates lay shattered on the floor, gleaming shards reflecting the overhead lights like scattered stars. A flurry of servers stood frozen, wide-eyed and speechless, the sound of laughter from the dining room fading to a tense hush. Emma's immediate instinct was to assess the damage, her fingers itching to start gathering pieces. But she noticed a young server kneeling beside the wreckage, her face pale, anxiety etched into every line. This was more than plates. It was her job, her pride threatened in one clumsy moment. "Hey, take a breath," Emma said softly, kneeling next to her. "Mistakes happen. We'll fix this." The young woman's eyes met Emma's, searching for reassurance. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. It's okay," Emma interrupted gently. "You didn't mean to, and life happens. We have to stand up and keep going." She searched the server's face, willing her to find strength. "Let us work together, all right?" Nodding, the girl seemed to find a sliver of courage. Emma rose, motioning to a couple of other servers. "We need a cleanup crew. Let us get this sorted fast." The urgency in her voice sliced through the tension, and immediately, hands were reaching to help clear the debris. Just then, Jake burst in, eyes wide as he took in the scene. What happened? He didn't miss a beat of the chaos around them. The way Emma commanded the room, how effortlessly she drew everyone into action. Emma turned to him, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Some plates broke, but I'm handling it. We can't let it ruin the evening." She saw the gratitude flicker in his gaze, clear, vibrant. As they worked side by side, pieces of shattered porcelain transformed into a symbol, each fragment an echo of the incredible spirit that gripped the team. Laughter returned, alive with nervous energy, mingling with the guests' anxious murmurs drifting in from the dining room. "All right," Jake called out as he caught Emma's eye. "We can't waste any more time. Once cleaned up, we'll unveil the first surprise." Emma nodded, a sense of anticipation swelling within her. "Together," she affirmed, a smile breaking through her earlier anxiety. They finished picking up the last few shards, the teamwork revitalizing them in unexpected ways. One by one, she saw the staff's confidence restore like new blooms cascading through winter. The bride and groom entered the room to assist, their focus turned away from the earlier cracks in their day. The glimmer of hope returned, stronger than before. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the guests, a wave of excitement building as they prepared for whatever Jake had planned. Emma felt the energy pulse through her. This was her moment too. As they turned to face the crowd, the door swung open again. Emma's breath caught as she spotted someone walking in, their presence an unexpected jolt. A familiar face from her past, one she'd hoped to leave behind. The smile on her face wavered, the laughter around her fading into silence. Could this person unravel everything she'd worked for tonight? The stakes had clearly risen, and with a heart heavy with both anxiety and determination, Emma braced herself for what was to come. Would her past betray her? Or could she turn this unexpected reunion into another step toward victory? The atmosphere shifted palpably as the figure stepped into the spotlight. Emma's heart thudded like a drum, each beat a reminder of the tangled history she'd tried so hard to escape. The crowd's cheers dulled into a distant murmur, replaced by the rapid sound of her breath filling her ears. She blinked, half convinced this was some kind of nightmare. "Is that?" Jake whispered beside her, his gaze darting between Emma and the newcomer. She couldn't respond. Her throat was too tight. The woman moving through the crowd, her confidence evident, was Jenna, Emma's former best friend, the one who had betrayed her in ways that still stung. A smile plastered on Jenna's face seemed to amplify the tension. "Emma, is that really you?" Jenna exclaimed, as if the years apart had been mere moments. Emma forced a smile, battling the emotions threatening to tear her apart. "Jenna," she managed to say, the word tasting bitter in her mouth. The room held its breath, the laughter from earlier replaced with curiosity. Jenna's eyes sparkled, but Emma saw through the facade. This was no innocent reunion. It was a challenge. This was the woman who had hurt her the most, the one who had taken everything she had believed in and shattered it. "How crazy to see you here. I was just visiting for the wedding," Jenna said, feigning nonchalance as she stepped forward. Emma felt the heat of Jake's arm brushing against her shoulder, a subtle reminder that she wasn't alone. "Yeah, well, it's a busy night. I hope this isn't anything unexpected," Emma replied, her voice steadier than she felt. Jenna laughed, but it felt wrong, twisted. "Oh, come on. Let us not act like there's bad blood between us. We were so close back then." Emma tightened her jaw, keeping the memories at bay. "People change, Jenna." An uncomfortable silence loomed, a battlefield sharpened with unresolved history. She could hear the guests behind them whispering between sips of wine, trying to piece together the drama unfolding before them. Just like you changed after I left? After everything I did for you? Jenna shot back, her voice rising slightly. Emma felt the anger bubbling. This wasn't just about broken plates and cleanup now. This was a reckoning. What do you want, Jenna? She asked, her voice cut through the thick air. Is this about being the life of the party again? Or are you just here to stir up old wounds? Jenna's expression flipped, revealing something darker underneath the cheerful mask. I want to reconnect, Emma. Maybe it's time we let the past go. But as she spoke, Emma caught a glimpse of the gleam in Jenna's eye, and suddenly all the years of hurt and betrayal returned in one strong wave. No, Emma said, shaking her head firmly. Some things can't just be forgotten. She stepped back, feeling Jake shift beside her, instinctively forming a wall. The air crackled with tension, and Emma felt every heart in the room beat more rapidly, holding its breath. Would Jenna's presence tear down everything she had worked for tonight? Or could Emma confront this part of her past and emerge stronger, armed with the resilience she had found through the past few years? For a moment, Emma thought of all the hours spent rebuilding herself, forging new friendships, and learning her value. This was a test. As the guests began to murmur again, leaning closer to catch every word, Emma realized that this moment was not just her own. It was a pivotal point for everyone in attendance, a reminder of how connections could heal or hurt. Let us settle this here and now, Jenna, Emma said, determination flooding her veins. And as she raised her voice, the crowd leaned in, eager for the unfolding drama. What would happen next? Emma's fate hung in the balance, and the night felt as if it held its breath, ready to unveil the truth that had been buried far too long. The murmur of the crowd intensified, fluttering like wings as if anticipating the dramatic showdown hanging in the air. Emma could feel the heat of their gazes pressing down on her, a weight heavier than any embarrassment she had ever felt. Jenna stood before her, defiance written all over her face, the smile now gone and replaced by an expression that was almost predatory. What are you so afraid of, Emma? Jenna challenged, tilting her head slightly, her voice honeyed but brittle. Afraid of what will come out if we talk. Or maybe it's that you're just not over it. Over me? Emma swallowed hard. A flicker of vulnerability crossed her mind, but she pushed it down. The past had taught her well. It reminded her of all the laughter they shared and the betrayal she endured. Jenna had once been the sister she chose, but now, she was the ghost haunting her. I don't need to be over something that was never normal in the first place, Jenna. Emma took a deep breath and stepped forward, her heart racing as she locked eyes with her former friend. You were never just a friend. You played with my trust until it shattered. And now you want to act as if none of that happened? The audience stirred, a mix of shock and intrigue swirling among them. Emma felt empowered. They were all here, and she wasn't ready to let Jenna walk over her again. This isn't just about you and me anymore. It's about facing the truth. A flicker of something fear crossed Jenna's face, and that gave Emma a rush. I want to let you rewrite our history. I know who you really are. Jenna stepped back, her facade cracking just enough for Emma to see the hurt that lived beneath. You think you've got it all figured out now, don't you? Just because you've made a few new friends. But let us not forget the truth, you still needed me to dig you out of your own mess. Emma bristled. What you call mess was me learning to stand on my own. I was never a burden to you. At that moment, the crowd seemed to hold its breath collectively. Someone murmured, wow, this is deeper than we thought. Emma didn't care about the whispers. She was in her own world now, concentrating solely on Jenna. Is that it? You think you can scare me back into submission? Because I'm not that girl anymore, Emma said firmly, her voice rippling with newfound strength. Jenna's eyes narrowed as she glanced around the audience, seeking allies among the curious faces. What do you want? She asked quietly, the fight in her voice dampening. This isn't about wanting anything from you, Jenna. It's about taking back what's mine, my voice, my story, my peace, Emma replied, heart pounding with each clear word she spoke. She had fought for this moment, shoving away doubts that had tried to chain her to the past. Jake squeezed her hand, grounding her, lending quiet support. She could feel his pride radiating toward her, and that made her stronger. Let us end this charade, she said, glancing at the crowd for a moment before returning her gaze to Jenna. I don't want a forced reconciliation. This isn't a fairy tale. Jenna's smile flickered, revealing something raw beneath the surface. Fine. Just know this isn't the last you'll see of me, Emma. I'll always be around. Good, Emma answered, feeling a lightness she hadn't known in a long time. Because I want to be around too. Not to rebuild what was lost, but to remind you that I am stronger. As Jenna stepped back into the shadows, leaving a crack in tension, the murmurs turned into chatter. Emma could feel the collective release, like a bubble bursting. But this wasn't over. The atmosphere was charged with new energy. Questions swirled. What were people thinking now? Would they rally around Emma? With her heart racing, she realized a new chapter was beginning, one where she was in control. Emma took a breath, savoring the moment, while the crowd shifted, debating what had just unfolded. But in the back of her mind, unease lingered. What if Jenna's next move was worse than she'd prepared for? Would she confront her once more, or was there a deeper motive behind those familiar eyes? The night wasn't finished, and Emma sensed the storm that could still brew. How would she handle the shadows of her past? The next chapter was unwritten, poised on the brink of battle. The moment hung in the air, a balance between fear and determination, as Emma took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the crowd's gaze. She felt different now, transformed. The confrontation had stripped her past bare, but she carried with her the strength of the present. This is my time, she whispered to herself, a rallying cry for the fire she had ignited within. Amid the murmurings of the guests, she noticed Jake at her side, his presence solid. You were incredible, he said, admiration written on his face. You took that head on. Emma offered him a grateful smile, warmth spreading in her chest. I've learned it's okay to fight for what you want and what you deserve. The night rippled with a new energy, an undercurrent of hope and resolve. Emma turned, facing the crowd again. Thank you for bearing witness, she said, her voice strong. Life often feels overwhelming, like chaos closing in around us. But it's precisely in those moments we discover our true strength. And I found mine. The audience shifted, some nodding in agreement, others visibly moved. Emma's heart raced. This was the connection she craved. Words left her lips spontaneously, fueled by the shared vulnerability of the evening. We are all worthy of our dreams. They should never be left behind because of fear or trauma. Let us support each other in breaking down those walls. Jake's eyes sparkled, and she felt emboldened by his encouragement. He spoke up too, locking eyes with Emma. That's true. We've seen the struggles on every level tonight. Let us come together and make this night unforgettable, not just for the couple, but for every person here, he said, drawing in the crowd. The atmosphere crackled, a sense of unity blossoming among everyone present. Slowly, applause started to ripple through the room. Emma's heart soared as she fed off the energy. She could feel her brother's gaze, pride bursting within him. For the first time, she saw how what she had done mattered, not just to her, but for a community yearning for validation. The bride and groom joined them, faces flushed with renewed vigor. Emma, we'd love for you and your team to take the lead. We trust you, the bride said, a light in her eyes. Let us not just fix this, let us make it a night to remember. Emma's heart leaped in her chest. The risk they had taken had opened doors. Excitement surged. She turned to Jake. We could whip up something fun and fresh. Let us celebrate the unexpected. Dinner could become a festival. Jake replied, his enthusiasm infectious. Out with the old. How about we invite guests to share their favorite recipes, their stories? A communal experience. Absolutely. Emma seized the moment, her imagination on fire. Let us create a wall of delights where everyone can contribute a memory or a dish. We'll mix their flavors with ours. As the ideas flowed, the energy in the room surged. The initial shock of the crash faded into laughter, chatter, and hope. Emma felt a surge of purpose as guests eagerly began sharing their favorite stories and laughed around tables strewn with artfully arranged flowers. Amid the joyful chaos, Emma caught Jenna's eye. Although the specter of the past lingered, it no longer held her. She was no longer shackled by old wounds or regrets. Are you okay? Jake asked quietly, sensing her moment of reflection. I am, Emma said, feeling lighter. I'm finally free. The night unfolded like a well-written play, laughter mingling with voices as guests engaged, tasted, and created a space brimming with connection. The chaos had transformed into a living narrative of the human experience, flaw and all. Emma felt a sense of belonging that had eluded her for so long. "Let me tell you about my grandmother's secret chili." A jovial guest interjected, drawing everyone around him. Stories flowed like wine, each moment stitching them closer together. "I want to share a dish my mother taught me, but with an Emma twist." Someone called out, excitement shining through the room. Time moved quickly, each heartbeat solidifying bonds previously lost beneath layers of opulence. Emma could hardly believe the change from rivalry to unity. Perhaps stepping from the shadows of her past into the light had illuminated a path for many days. The night ready to take a bow, the bride stood, her eyes shining. "Here's to Emma. You sparked more than just a dinner tonight. You ignited hope." To everyone here, for feeling validated. Forgetting our past does not mean losing it, but building upon it. You are all part of this story now. Cheers erupted, and Emma's heart swelled. She found herself swept along with the uproar, tears of joy shining freely in her eyes. She forged a new world, rebuilt on honesty, connection, and love. With Jake at her side, they had shown not just the elite, but themselves that real change could materialize from courage, passion, and community. Emma grasped tightly to this new truth, holding on as if it were a glass sculpture, fragile yet beautiful in its creation. As the music swelled, Emma's heart soared. She felt gratitude for every turn life had taken, every trial faced. She had arrived, and her journey to become more than just a maid was finally unfolding the first whispers of a brilliant future. And as confetti fell like stars across the magically transformed dining room, Emma realized this was not just an end but a beginning, a celebration of unity, a wedding of dreams, and above all, a fierce reminder that each heart beats for something more. Now, if you felt inspired, you need to subscribe now to the channel. Don't miss the exclusive stories that are about to change your life. Leave a like right now to support and help spread these powerful messages. I want to hear from you. Comment below if you've ever faced a moment of transformation like Emma's. And remember, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey of transformation. This is the moment to stand with our community. Don't wait, not even one more second to share. Your support means everything.